Just do your thing here, bud. Nobody's any better at this than you are.
That's fine. Take a deep breath.
Give him hell at the end. Good luck to you.
Fight like hell like we do every week. You are the best here. Brett, be affirmative. You told me to get on.
Info. Ready. Ready. Go slow. Green, green, green. Lock it down, lock it down. 14.
I'm destroyed, and I just got drove through like 6 times on the 14th. What the f*** is he thinking? That is the stupidest thing I've seen in my career. Literally.
Everything you described is accurate. Haven't even finished the second stage yet. Half the field's wrecked.
Hell yeah.
11 got it. Rowdy there, Matt. Good job, pal. Thanks, man. Good job all day. Great work, my man. Great work.
Keep putting yourself in position, we'll win our share, right? We got one back today, brother. Good job.
10-4. Great job, guys.
And welcome back to Racing in the Draft. My name is Mark. We are into the next round, middle of it. Let's go road course racing from Watkins Glen for the second race of the first round of the playoffs. And it's the first time that Watkins Glen has been in the playoffs, so this should be interesting. We've got new tires, we've got new I don't know what you want to call it, little rumble strips all over the place. They took out the big rumble strips that was causing headaches for the drivers in more ways than one. But either way, thanks for joining in. And before we get to Watkins Glen, let's go back to kind of what I thought would happen at Atlanta. I didn't really think Joey Logano would win, but I think that was kind of dumb on my part. But either way, Joey Logano, our winner from Atlanta. Motor Speedway? Super Speedway? What do you even call this track anymore? I don't know. Either way, it definitely came down to the end with a few little bit of shenanigans towards the end, but that's okay. Kind of what we expected a little bit, but the Fords were fast as normal at these super speedway style type tracks. But let's take a look at our optimal lineups from Atlanta. Daniel Suarez coming from 30th to finishing second. He backed up his first place finish with a second place finish at Atlanta. Christopher Bell coming from the back. Kind of what I thought. Bunch of drivers coming from the rear. And that's pretty typical for a drafting style track. Just didn't quite expect Austin Cindric to lead 92 laps. I mean, it's pretty typical that when somebody gets out front on these super speedways, they typically can hold it. And because this track is starting to age, we are definitely starting to see more and more of a handling. I mean, the draft is always going to be there. We're starting to see some aero blocking being available to the leader with a clean track. So it's going to be interesting to see how this track continues to progress. And I think it's going to just end up being better and better. In my opinion, it's going to turn into a blended track of Michigan and Daytona and like a Vegas or a Kansas, which should make it quite unique. I hope they don't go and repave it or do anything different or strange with the track, but I think it's starting to age really, really well, and hopefully they just keep it the way it is. But either way, the Fords and Penske's showed up in the first race of round one. Ryan Blaney finishing in third, Austin Cindric leading laps, Joey Logano taking the win and securing his spot into the round of 12. And I guess we should have expected it. It's an even year. That seems to be the talking point from this week. It's an even year. Why not? Joey Logano's supposed to win the championship. I don't know. I mean, I like data and I like numbers, but it seems a little far-fetched. But hey, we'll go with it for now. Either way, we saw a lot of place differential being some of the key factors as expected. Hopefully, if you did some DraftKings lineups or pick six or just some bets, that they turned out the way you wanted them to, and you made a little bit of money. So that way we can possibly win some this week. For our optimal lineup challenge, Christopher Bell at the top with 10, Tyler Reddick with 9, Brad Keselowski and Kyle Larson with 8, Ty Gibbs with 7. The cream has started to rise to the top at this point, and we'll see if Christopher Bell can hold on to that top spot. I mean, he kind of is, in my opinion, a championship Final Four and probably championship favorite at this point. But I think Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson, and some others are going to have something to say about that. Oh yeah, it's an even year, so Joey Logano may have something to say about that also. All right. Either way, let's head to Watkins Glen, upstate New York. Beautiful weather, beautiful country, and an amazing racetrack. It's been around I think it might be one of the oldest road courses that the NASCAR circuit has gone to. And it has put on some amazing races over the years, and I think tomorrow will be the same. If you happen to catch the Xfinity race today, oh boy, are we in store for a lot of fun over the next, at this point, 20 years, 25 years. Connor Zilisch started from the pole, won his first race from the pole, won his first Xfinity race. This kid's 18 years old. And just, drove the race of his lifetime. Needless to say, he also won the ARCA race at Watkins Glen from the pole on Friday. Oh yeah, did I mention while he was 17, he was one of the 4 drivers who won the Rolex 24 Hours in Daytona at the beginning of this year? I'm telling you, this kid is something else, especially on road courses. And he's not too shabby in the ARCA series on ovals. So we definitely need to keep an eye out for Connor Zilisch. And he will be full-time for the rest of the season in that number 88 car. And he will be racing the 88 car next year with a cool venture between, is it Trackhouse and Junior Motorsports, or is it? I think it is Trackhouse. I don't think it's Colic. But either way, Connor Zilisch is going to be a name that we will probably get very tired of talking about in the near future. Either way, let's go bowling at the Glen. That's sometimes what they do when they go down into turn 1. This is a very typical road course type. It is only a road course. Has always been a road course, but they've got a couple different layouts. We do not race in this part of the road course. It's kind of sweeps down through here and back up to the start-finish line. But yeah, it is an amazing and great track. The race length today or tomorrow is 90 laps, and that's about what they ran in the Xfinity Series with all the overtimes that they had. So we definitely are in store for quite an exciting race. Dominator points 63. Very little bit. Just a little bit of Dominator points. And honestly, because we have stage breaks, we're going to have some guys that are going to come in early before the stage ends, which is going to shuffle the running order a little bit. I honestly do not see Dominator points as being a huge concern. But either way, if you're looking for other tracks to potentially compare this to, of course, Watkins Glen, the Charlotte road course, kind of, not really. I mean, you could also do Chicago because they turn right and left, but it's laid out very differently. Sonoma is probably one of the closer ones, and then Circuits of the America or COTA would be another one that we can go back and look at. Either way, let's look at some optimal lineups from the last 2 years at Watkins Glen. Both of these races were with the next-gen car. And as you can see, Dominator points come into play, but they're not always necessarily the deciding factor. Where finishing order and place differential play a huge factor, just because we don't have a whole lot of laps. And that's what you really need for Dominator points, is you need a lot of laps, you need to lead a lot of laps, you need to have a lot of fast laps. And William Byron just stunk up the show. And even though he led 2/3 of the race, he still only had 72 total points. Where Martin Truex Jr. Started in 19th, finished in 6th, didn't lead a lap, and had 19 fewer points, and was in the optimal lineup. So 72.4 is really, really good at a road course, and just take that into consideration when you're building your lineups. Not saying that somebody from the top 5 or top 10 that we need to avoid, because as you can see, we still had a couple guys that started towards the front and finished towards the front. So it does pay 45 points to win the race. So, but I mean, if you think about that, I mean, Kyle Larson in 2022 finished in first with a 51.75. Well, 45 of those points came from finishing in first. So he only got 6.75 Dominator points and was 5th on the optimal lineup chart. So, yes, don't completely ignore people that are starting in the top 10, but your big points are going to come from people who start towards the back, unless we get a real dominating performance out of somebody. And I don't think with the way the tire compound is set up for this race tomorrow that we're going to see somebody go out and lead 66 laps. I just don't foresee that being something we need to kind of keep an eye on. But you never know. We did have Sonoma earlier this year, and that had a little bit of tire wear. They're running a different tire than they even ran at Sonoma. Sonoma had just been repaved, so that was very much different than what we'd seen in the past. So there was definitely some fall off, and it was mostly heat in the tires that was causing some issues. But either way, as you can see, Kyle Larson was the only one to start in the top 10 that made the optimal lineup. And then in 2023, we didn't have everybody in the top 5. We had 2 drivers that started in the top 10, though. So it's not a full-out fade from the people that are starting in the top 10, but a lot of your large points are going to come from guys that are starting towards the rear who can finish towards up front. I mean, even Eric Jones, who started 38th, all he had to do was get to 19th and made the optimal lineup. Part of that was his pricing, but either way, with $2,300 left over, there's still a lot of money left on the table. So don't be afraid to leave a little bit of money on the table. I think $2,300 is a little bit much because we had 0 in 2022 at Watkins Glen and 600 left over last year at Watkins Glen. So you can leave some money on the table. You don't have to feel obligated to use all of your salary cap. In fact, typically most of the time we don't use all the salary cap. So I typically try to figure out lineups, or if I'm looking at lineups, I usually don't try to use all of the salary cap. Either way, let's take a look at all of the road courses that we have raced other than the Charlotte Roval over the last year, and kind of see where guys have started, where the top points, 15 points for DraftKings has come from. And as we can see, really the bulk of the points kind of comes from 11 through 20. We do have a decent amount that are coming from the top 10. If we look at it, if we put the two of them together, it's 5.6 and 4.4 come from 11 through 20. So not as many from 21st to 30th. And you almost could kind of fade a little bit on what is coming from the 30s. So it's not a huge swing to kind of fade even the guys that are starting in the 30s. Really, the bulk really seems to be coming through that 11 through 20. It's hard to pass these road courses, and if you had a chance to watch practice today, because of the way the tire is degrading as they race, the fall off speed is there. I think on a full fuel run, which I think it's 25 laps, and then 40 laps, I think, are the stages. I haven't looked at that. Let's take a look real quick. What are the stages for tomorrow's race? We have 20, 40, or 20, 20, and then 50. But what we were seeing was a lot of marbling. from the tire wear on the track. The thing that I saw that really kind of stuck out to me was you definitely had a groove to a groove and a half around most of the turns at the track, which makes it very difficult when somebody goes to pass a little bit later into a run, because unless the person that they're trying to pass gets wide or shallow and they're able to make a move, and typically on a road course you're going to try to dive inside, whether that's right or left, you're going to try to dive the inside of the corner to try to get position and get that person to have to drive further out wide. But the problem that I see happening is if you can get your nose up underneath somebody, it pushes them into that other half a lane outside the groove, which is full of this rubber marbly. It's pot rubber is what it is, and they look like little marbles. But those marbles, because the tires are hot and very sticky, pick up that used and cooler rubber, which then is almost kind of like driving on a slight gravel road. So kind of like when you go around a corner in the country or on a mountain road, and you get to a bend in the road and there's a little bit of gravel in there, and your tires hit it, you can almost kind of feel your car wiggle a little bit, even at slow speeds. Well, these guys are hauling the mail, and they'll hit those marbles and it'll push them out even further. It doesn't full on wreck them because they're professionals, but it does make the opportunity for guys to pass on the inside make the driver they're passing go to the outside, which is going to cause them to probably be much slower because they're going to pick up that extra rubber and they'll get loose. So I see lots of opportunities if you can get a run on somebody and get to their inside and kind of get them up out of the groove a little bit. They're going to pick up that extra marble, and it's going to cause a little bit of issue and problem. I'm not saying that we're going to have a ton of cautions because of it. These guys are professionals, but I think we're going to be able to see some really good racing tomorrow because of, number one, tire wear, also the marbling, and some of the heat cycles that we're going to see on some of these tires. So either way, this is kind of my ranking system that I have, and their starting spots based kind of on where they're starting, where we typically see points come from. Javen Gisbergen starting in third. I mean, he's really good at road courses, as we all know. He's won Chicago. He's won 3 of the Xfinity road courses. He almost won today. But Zilich was not going to be denied. I've got him ranked 11th. After that, I mean, Martin Truex Jr. showed some speed during qualifying, but he definitely kind of struggled a little bit more than I thought he would in practice. And I'm telling you, if there's somebody with bad luck right now, it's Martin Truex Jr. He just is. It's been tough. Now, Alex Bowman won Chicago earlier, and he's starting in 4th, but his practice speeds were not that great. So the only one really starting in the top 5 that I like is probably SVG. 6 through 10, I like the Michael McDowell long run speed. Also, he's starting in 10th, so I think there's a real potential here for him to kind of run and stay in the top 10. And his long run speed was really, really good. So I don't mind that. AJ Allmendinger, of course, is the road course ringer, starting in 6th. The problem is if these guys if they have just a little bit of issue and they fall 3, 4, 5 spots, their price tags are hefty enough that it could be a little tough. Now, Joey Logano at 7,300, but Joey Logano's really not that good on road courses, at least not as of recent in this next-gen era. So I don't really love a whole lot of people that are starting in the top 10 to stay in the top 10 or be a really big factor. So we'll get to them as we get to it. The guys I really like the Tyler Reddick play, the Kyle Larson play, the Christopher Bell play, Chase Elliott, even though Chase Elliott has not been as good on road courses of the next-gen era. These 3, though, I really, really like. The problem is I think everybody's going to really kind of focus in on them. So if you're looking to potentially pivot or find a sleeper, Is Matt out there? Typically not. He's busy with NFL. Andrew, hope UK can hold on. Okay, yeah, I'm watching. I've got the University of Kentucky game up over here to the left right here, and then I've got my quad screen, with let's see, Texas, Auburn, UVA, and the Kentucky game. Georgia's starting to march, but we've got 1 quarter left. So hopefully you can hang on, listen, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. I'll kind of keep track of the football games. If you want to kind of listen to me and take some notes and watch football, we'll watch it together. Maybe Georgia can go down. I doubt it though. Georgia's just too good. Kentucky's not bad. They just there's not many teams out there that can run with Kentucky or run with Georgia. I don't know. Tennessee needs to play somebody because Tennessee is just walloping everybody they get a hold of. All right, back to NASCAR. This is not college football play-by-play. I really, really like the Reddick, Larson, Bell plays, but they're going to be pretty popular if you're looking to kind of fade or find those sleepers. And yes, Matt, I'm talking to you. You always like to find those sleepers. Kyle Busch is probably a decent sleeper. I don't. When I was making some of my preliminary lineups, I wasn't gravitating a whole lot to Kyle Busch, which makes me think that everybody else may fade him also because there's a lot of other potential drivers in his price range, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. Chris Buescher is phenomenal when we get to road courses. So starting in 24th, a lot of place differential. Ryan Blaney is not great at road courses. He's also not 30th. I think Ryan Blaney can get himself up into a top 15, maybe even a top 10. So starting in 30th, ton of place differential. Denny Hamlin, he had a bad race last week. He cannot afford to have another bad race. He's going to need to get himself into at least a top 15, if not top 10. So we've got a lot of potential here in the 11 through 30 range. And there's some guys that I will absolutely be that are just, I don't have any interest in. I mean, pretty much from Carson Hocevar down, I don't have any interest in much of any of these guys. Maybe Eric Jones. But either way, we'll get to the driver by driver breakdown. Let's look at practice and where we could potentially find some drivers who may have just missed a little bit in qualifying, or maybe they overperformed in qualifying and we might want to avoid them. Ryan Blaney, he was 8th fastest in single lap practice and he qualified 30th. So that's potentially, if he can finish where he practiced, 22 spots of place differential. Wow, they are putting on one heck of a light show at the Kentucky game. Kyle Larson was 3rd in practice, qualified 20th. Denny Hamlin, 5th in practice, qualified 22nd. Tyler Reddick, 1st in practice, qualified 16th. Brad Keselowski, not as much room here, 19th to 28th. Justin Haley qualified in 36th, but he was 27th in practice. Corey LaJoie, best finish of his career last week, I think. No, maybe it was. Or is it at least his first top 10 last week at Atlanta? So Corey LaJoie needs to finish this season out strong. He's trying to find that ride for next year. And he may have found it going to the Rick Ware car. I'm hearing that these two may end up swapping rides. We'll see how much truth there is to that. Chris Buescher, like I said, he's always good at road courses. He wasn't super fast in practice, but he was faster than where he qualified. And potentially Kaz Grala, who's actually pretty good at road courses. He's kind of a sneaky one. Guys that slipped a little bit or did better than they should have potentially in qualifying compared to practice. Alex Bowman, AJ Allmendinger was not super fast in practice. Martin Truex Jr., Suarez, Preece, Byron. These are just some of the names that to look out for. And then in the top 10 average lap speed, guys to potentially look at, Chris Buescher, he was 4th in 10 lap speed and qualified 24th. Juan Pablo held there in 15th. Brad Keselowski. Tyler Reddick was fastest in 10 lap average. Now, Michael McDowell was the fastest in 15 lap average. But he was second in 10 lap, and he qualified in 10th. So I don't mind the Michael McDowell play there. Guys that were a little slow on the 10 lap long run speed: Chase Elliott, Ty Gibbs, Kyle Busch, AJ Allmendinger. And they kind of qualified better than what their 10 lap average was. So do they slip through the field as the race starts to wear on? Maybe. Of course, these are our single lap fastest guys: Tyler Reddick, Ross Chastain, Kyle Larson, Shane Van Gisbergen, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Austin Cindric, Ryan Blaney. Look at there. Penske guys all showing up in the top 8 in speed at a road course. Wonder if it'll hold. Pretty much everybody was kind of almost falling off 1 second. Oh, there goes Georgia. Scoring their touchdown. Did they score? I haven't seen a signal yet. Maybe stepped out of bounds? I think maybe he stepped out. All right. But everybody almost fell off a second on 10 laps. Early indications were that they were going to have 4 or 5 second. Yeah, he stepped out. 4 or 5 second fall off over the course of a fuel run. That's yet to be seen. I could probably see 2.5 seconds. Oh, good, he did step out, but it is 1st and 10. We'll kind of keep an eye on this Georgia game as we kind of continue to go down this rabbit hole. And then, guys, the guys were a little slower. Their fall offs were not quite as bad. They also didn't abuse their tires as much. So, I don't really know what to make of all this, because every time I look at these practice speeds, they don't really fall completely into the race. Everybody's got so many different agendas. I mean, the only one that's safe that can go for a win, well, I guess there's a couple, but Joey Logano is absolutely safe. He has go for broke, go for the win. Shane Van Gisbergen, same thing, go for broke. He's not racing for points. He's racing for a trophy. He's trophy hunting. Same thing with AJ Allmendinger. He's trophy hunting. Ross Chastain, he's not inside the playoffs, so he is just trophy hunting. Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Austin Cindric, Ryan Blaney are all in the need of good finishes. So their strategy may be a little different. The best value picks. So these are the 8 cheapest drivers and who potentially has some ideas. All right, 3rd and 2. If they can get a stop here, they can hold it to a tie game. Nope, touchdown. All right, we'll get back to this. Hopefully Kentucky can make a run here. The Corey LaJoie is interesting because he practiced pretty fast and he started pretty quick. And when we get to the driver-by-driver breakdown, you'll find out he actually does pretty good at Watkins Glen. Harrison Burton, there wasn't a whole lot of difference between his practices, but there is a difference. I don't really like the Harrison Burton play, to be honest, but Cosgrella practiced in 31st and qualified 38th, so maybe we got a little room with Cosgrella. All right, let's get into the driver-by-driver breakdown. We are at, let's see, we'll go through this whole breakdown here for the first page, and then we'll kind of skim through everybody else and hit the highlights. The 5 tracks we are comparing to: Watkins Glen of last year in 2022, Sonoma of earlier this year in 2023, and the Circuits of America race in this year. Kyle Larson, 10,500. He is starting in the 20th position. His practice speeds, he was in Group 1 for practice and qualifying. That's what this 1 indicates. Anybody else that did Session 2 would be a 2. He was 3rd fastest in single lap practice. He did 25 total laps of practice between the 2 20-minute sessions that they had. And he did do a 10-lap consecutive run without coming in for a pit stop or anything like that. So we got a pretty good idea of what his, at least medium run, not long run speed, but medium run speed is. And he was 6th. He's got 2 wins out of these 5 races that we're comparing to: 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, 4 top 20s, a 35.6 Draftkings average. Now remember what I was saying before, you get 45 points for a first place. And I think the most we saw out of all those optimal lineups was like 70. So, and that was kind of, I mean, you had to lead 66 laps and finish in first to get those kind of points. So typically a good day at a road course in DraftKings is in the low 50s. So a 35.6 DraftKings average is not bad. 10.8 average finish is not bad also. He did finish 26th in the Watkins Glen race last year. He has 35 total road course starts. That's across all the road courses that Kyle Larson has started in the Cup Series. He's got 4 total wins, 9 top 5s, 14 top 10s, 25 top 20s, a 14.7 average finish. Of course, he does have 4 wins on the year, and this is his sticker for being in the playoffs. Up here in the top right is my ranking system. This is where I have Kyle Larson ranked based on practice, qualifying, previous history at Watkins Glen, previous history at road courses, and the last 10 races that we have run in the 2024 season. All of that put into a spreadsheet, and it gives me a rank of number 2 for Kyle Larson. So that also probably indicates that he's going to be pretty heavily owned. Just have that in mind. All right, so now that we've got that one page done, we'll kind of skim through everything else. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and let me know in the chat who you think the winner will be tomorrow, and who do you think will be the biggest place differential winner. Will it be somebody like a Ryan Blaney coming out of 20th? Will it be a Kaz Grala starting in 38th? I don't think that'll be the biggest, but I think there's room for Kaz Grala to get at least some points. Really can't go backwards. You're starting in last. But William Byron is starting in the 11th spot. He was the winner of the Watkins Glen race in 2023. His price tag is $10,300. He was in the second practice group. He was not super fast in practice. He was 21st in single lap, 19th in 10 lap consecutive average, and then he goes out and qualifies 11th. So was practice not good for him? Did he have some troubles? I'm not really sure. Another truck had rubbered in by that point because he was in Group 2. But it's hard to say. He does have 2 wins out of the 5 races we're comparing to, so pretty good, including the one here at Watkins Glen last year, and the one at Circuits of the America earlier this year. 13.6 average finish, and he's got a 32.9 DraftKings average compared to Kyle Larson's 35.6. So that kind of tells you where these guys are with DraftKings averages. 29 total starts on road courses, 2 wins, 15.6 average finish. I don't mind the William Byron play. I don't love it. He does come in ranked 9th on my ranking system. He's got 3 wins on the year, and of course, like I said, he is in the playoffs. He's pretty safe in the playoffs right now, but nobody can really afford to have a bad race. Well, Kyle Larson could last week, but he can't afford another one. Chase Elliott, $10,000, starting in 14th. Chase has been okay at road courses. Chase Elliott, for the longest time, was, towards the tail end of the Gen 6 era of the Cup Series, before this next-gen car came out, Chase Elliott was pretty much almost unstoppable at road courses. Since the next-gen era, he has not won. Can he rectify that? Potentially. But he's had pretty good average finish. He's 12.2. Paul Moss, hey Mark, with these guys so close in speed, it may turn into 3-wide wreckfest. Should be interesting. Yeah. Sure. Watch the Xfinity race today. They were 3-wide, 4-wide, 5-wide going into turn 1 at times. Yeah, and we've got a lot of fast cars, like drivers that are typically fast starting mid-pack, and they showed up and practiced pretty fast. And they're going to want to make some moves. It's going to be interesting. I think we're in store for a pretty good race tomorrow, and it's also in the playoffs. That adds another element of You got to go. But back to Chase Elliott. In the next gen era, he has not done. Ooh, go buddy, go. Sorry, watching that Kentucky Georgia game. I'll keep you up to date if anything big happens. Kentucky's driving. They've passed the 50-yard line. They need to get a. They're down by 4. They need a touchdown here. But Chase Elliott, I mean, he's good at road courses, but he's not been as good in the next gen era. I don't mind him starting in 14th. His practice speeds were okay. And I can't remember how many races in a row that Hendrick has won at Watkins Glen, but Hendrick kind of owns Watkins Glen. Shane Van Gisbergen, he'll be full-time next year in the Cup Series, and he's really good at road courses. He was 4th in single lap, 5th in 10-lap consecutive average. Starting in 3rd, he could easily start in 3rd, be in 3rd. He could probably battle for some wins. He could run different strategies than a lot of these other guys because he's trophy hunting. And kind of what that means is he'll flip stages. He'll either stay out or he will pit early. Typically, if you're going for the win, you pit early. Because it will vault you in front of everybody that stays out for the stage break. Because you will have already pitted. They'll come to pit road. You'll start higher up. Then the same thing at stage 2. You pit before the end of stage 2. Everybody else pits. Now, if everybody pits, maybe you stay out. But then you'll have to pit. It gets very convoluted. I'm glad I'm not a crew chief because I don't know where I would tell these people and what to do. So, but Shane Van Gisbergen starting in 3rd. I mean, heck, he had to start in the rear for the Xfinity race, and he was literally battling for the win with 2 laps to go. So, he's really good. The question is, I mean, everybody has bad days. He had one at Chicago earlier this year, so maybe. All right. Next in line here, Tyler Reddick, who has been very good in the next gen era. Not necessarily as good on the typical road course. He's been much better at the Roval styles, where he won an Indy, Coda, not Coda. Yeah, he won a Coda, Indy. I guess Coda is a natural style road course. But he won at Roval, Indy, and Coda. Either way, Tyler Reddick's pretty good. And he was really fast in practice. Single lap, he was fastest. 10-lap consecutive average, he was fastest. The only spot that he did not perform the fastest was a 15-lap consecutive run where Michael McDowell was first. But starting in 16th, lots of place differential. He needs to have a good solid day because we head to Bristol next week, which could be kind of chaotic. So these guys want to lock up some decent points. So I like the Tyler Reddick play. Comes in 16th in my ranking system. I'm not sure why that was. I need to look at that because he shouldn't be that. The ranking should be better than that. I have him as probably a top 5. I wonder if that's supposed to be a 6. Give me 1 second. It just doesn't seem right. Why is Tyler Reddick? No, Tyler Reddick's first. Yeah, Tyler Reddick's first on my ranking system. I'll fix that right now. That bothered me. There's my mistake for the week. Always have one. We found it. I fixed it. Alright. Tyler Reddick, ranked number 1. What I thought. Either way. Sorry about that. Why are all the lights going crazy? Do they have a timeout or did Kentucky score? Did I miss something? Oh, Kentucky scored a field goal. Did they just kick a field goal? Yeah, so only down by 1 with 8 minutes left. I think that's right. Told you, try to keep you up to date. But either way, Tyler Reddick, 9,500, ranked first on my ranking system. Christopher Bell next in line. This is before we even did any racing at all. This was kind of in my mind as I think Christopher Bell would be my pick for this week's winner. Before I saw practice speeds, before I saw anything, I was like, Christopher Bell's just been really good this year, and he's due for a win. It's been a little bit, and it's time for them to turn things back up. $9,300 starting in 17th. His practice speeds were not as good as I would have hoped. 25th in single lap, 11th in 10 lap consecutive average. But kind of all the Joe Gibbs cars were a little bit slow in practice. Really, the only one that did well in qualifying was Martin Truex Jr. But we look at the 5 races. He's got 5 top 10s. 2 top 5s, a 6.2 average finish. And remember when I said 35 Draftkings average was pretty good? Well, Christopher Bell's sitting at a 47.9, and he finished 3rd in this race last year. He's got 2 total road course wins with a 15th average finish. I definitely like some Christopher Bell. I also don't mind some Ty Gibbs, $9,200, starting in 15th. And if he had not run out of fuel at the Xfinity race earlier today, he probably would have easily had a top 5. He may have invited for a win. He's pretty consistent and pretty good at road courses. He does have some bad luck at times. I don't love the play, don't hate the play. He is in the playoffs, so he needs to secure himself a pretty good finish. So just kind of keep that in mind. This could be a little bit of a sleeper. It's kind of an expensive sleeper, but he could fly under the radar at least. So if you're looking for somebody to pivot on away from a Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, or Kyle Larson, Ty Gibbs could be it. And he, some people are going to gravitate to AJ Allmendinger, the road course ringer. My stream's still doing fine. Weird, I had a blip. Let me know if you guys still have me. AJ Allmendinger, the road course ringer, starting in 6th. He was 22nd in single lap, 20th in 10 lap consecutive average. He's got a 4.8 average finish on the 5 races we're comparing to, with 2 top 5s, 5 top 10s. All of these 5 races, he's finished in the top 10. 44.9 DraftKings average. Pretty darn good. Starting in 6th. So, like I said, he's a ringer for a reason, and people are going to gravitate to him, so kind of keep that in mind. Kyle Busch, 8,800, starting in 13th. Okay, here we go. I got some viewers back. Let me know if the stream is still coming through, or if I had a glitch in the matrix. Or was it because I was talking about football and not NASCAR? I'll get him. Kyle Busch, 8,800, starting in 13th. All good. Cool. Thanks, Andrew. A practice where he started. Stream has been fun. Good. Thanks for letting me know, guys. My view count dropped, my little bar dropped, and then I had a little red blip. I don't know. YouTube. Kyle Busch could also be one of those that could easily be overlooked. But watching him during practice, he seemed to be extremely loose through most of his practice. And anytime we start to see Kyle Busch running that loose, tends to have issues and tends to get himself into trouble. Not saying that's going to be the case, but for some reason, Kyle Busch makes me a little bit nervous this week. But I think he's going to be a sleeper. So if you're looking for that sleeper that's going to get overlooked, I think Ty Gibbs and Kyle Busch could be the 2. Martin Truex Jr. starting in 2nd. I mean, Martin Truex Jr. is really good at road course races. 5 wins, 15.8 average finish over 51 starts. So 10% of the time he's finishing first. He's just had the worst luck this year. Ever since he decided he was going to retire, it has been rough. $8,600 starting in second. I just think he's starting too far up for where I would feel comfortable running him in my lineups. But I'll easily understand. I mean, if he were Tyler Reddick speed in practice, I'd feel a little more comfortable. But when you're a little bit off in practice and then you go qualify second, kind of makes me a little nervous. Or Michael McDowell, I mean, I think he's starting about where he practiced. Starting in 10th, he was 11th in single lap, second in 10 lap. Like I said, he was first in 15 lap. His long run speed was really, really good. I don't mind the Michael McDowell play. In fact, I think I kind of like the Michael McDowell play. He has led laps at Watkins Glen. He's, like I said, in practice, he was really, really good at long run speed. Now, the question is, do you get tangled up in somebody's mess? But I guess that could be the case for most anybody. Chris Buescher, $8,300, starting in the 24th position. And, I mean, for a while there, Chris Buescher was like literally the top 10 road course guy. Time in, time out. And also look at that 48.7 DraftKings average. That, I think, is even higher. That might be the highest we've seen so far. 6.2 average finish. Doesn't have a win on a road course yet. And, I mean, he's not in the playoffs. So, why not? Let's go get a win. And starting in 24th, a ton of place differential. So, I really like the Chris Buescher play. He does come in ranked 4th on my ranking system. Denny Hamlin, after his abysmal week last week at Atlanta. Starting in 22nd, he was pretty fast in practice. He was 5th in single lap, 8th in 10 lap consecutive average. He finished 2nd here at Watkins Glen last year. But other than that, it's not good. It's a 22nd place average finish over the 5 road courses we're looking at, with a whopping 14 DraftKings average. He's only got 1 win on road course. And Denny Hamlin's just hunting for points. I mean, he admitted that on his podcast earlier this week. Ooh, fumble by Georgia. 3rd down. Hold on to it, Kentucky. Just get the ball back. 7 minutes, 11 seconds left. All right. So I'll have some Denny Hamlin. I don't love the Denny Hamlin play. I mean, he's gonna hunt for just getting that top 10. I'm not sure he goes, unless he's got an opportunity to go get a win. I think he's just looking for a good, solid finish. So, if he gets a 10th, is that enough? Potentially. That could be a little bit of a sleeper, actually. Oh, Juan Pablo Montoya. Oh, please, just don't hit the jet dryer. Get him. Sorry. Oh, 4th down. Kentucky's going to get the ball back with 6 minutes left in this game. Wow. $8,000 starting in 34th. But I don't know. I forgot to look when the last time Juan Pablo Montoya ran a stock car race, much less a road course race. It's been a long time, but when he was around, he was really good. 14 total starts on road courses. And remember back then, it was literally Sonoma and it was Watkins Glen. He's got 3 total road course wins in his stock car career, Cup Series career, with a 12.6 average finish. But it's been a long time since he's run. I honestly do not expect a whole lot from Juan Pablo. UK's got a shot here. You are correct, Andrew. It's going to be fun to watch this thing to the end. I also thought South Carolina was going to beat LSU today, and the Gamecocks disappointed me. Not surprised, though. I'm a Tech fan, so I kind of root for Shane Beamer. Not a big South Carolina fan, but that is whatever. I'm an ACC fan, but SEC football is a lot of fun to watch. All right, back to racing. Get rid of the squirrel. I mean, we need some attrition for Juan Pablo to do well. It's just been too long, and this car is just so different than anything that he used to drive. I mean, he used to drive F1 and Indy and everything else, but and he's older. I mean, and not that old guys can't go drive, but he's not going to be able to compete with the Kyle Larsons and Tyler Reddicks. Just a fact. We're going to have to see a lot of attrition, and that's a little bit hard on road courses. So I don't expect a whole lot out of Juan Pablo. I'm probably going to only have maybe 8% of my lineups with him in there. It's just literally a shot if we have a huge attrition rate. Daniel Suarez, starting in the 8th position, $7,900. Daniel's pretty good on road courses, but his practice speeds were, He was 24th in single lap, 13th in 10 lap consecutive average. He's got a 19th place average finish on the 5 road courses we're comparing to. He does have a 1 win at Sonoma in 2022, but other than that, it's not been a whole lot. Now his teammate and partner in crime has got the pole position, so it looks like Trackhouse brought some pretty fast cars. Austin Cindric, next in line here, $7,700. He's got a 19th place average finish. He was very consistent in practice. 7th in single lap, 7th in 10 lap, qualified 5th. He needs to have a good finish. Because he is not good at Bristol. But he's not super good at road courses. And honestly, I think Austin Cindric's going to be pretty happy and content if he gets somewhere between 12th and 15th. The problem is I don't think that's going to be good enough for Draftkings, even at $7,700. It's too tough of a shot for me to really kind of want to have much ownership in Austin Cindric. So he's a fade for me. I'm not even sure he's a good sleeper, to be honest. Alex Bowman, I mean, he's decent at road courses, but his average finishes lately have not been great at road courses, other than he did win Chicago. But Chicago was just a different beast. They were racing to a timed race for the sunset, all sorts of different things. So I'm a fade on Alex Bowman too. I think he's just starting too far up, and I think he's kind of like the Austin Cindric. I think they're just looking for a good top 15 type of day. If they can wind up with a top 10 or top 5, they're going to shoot for it. But I'm not sure that they have the speed to go and beat a Tyler Reddick or a Kyle Larson or a Michael McDowell or an AJ Allmendinger or any of those guys. A long bomb. Nope. Is that a flag? Flag? No flag? Oh, come on. Give him the flag. Make it interesting. 3rd and 6. 5 minutes left. Kentucky's driving. All right. Ross Chastain. He was super fast in practice. 2nd in single lap. 3rd in 10 lap consecutive average. Starting from the pole. And he's got nothing else to lose this year other than go get a win. I actually like probably a couple of Ross Chastain plays more than I like Austin Cindric or Alex Bowman, because those guys are points chasing, where Ross Chastain's like, screw it, I'm going to go for the win. And he's got the speed in practice. Ooh, out of the pocket. Flag on the play. Not complete. Hopefully it's a pass interference, and they can get a first down. So I don't mind the play. I don't love the play. He could be a little bit of a sleeper for DraftKings. So Ryan Blaney, this one's going to be super heavily owned. Holding defense, first down, automatic. Ryan Blaney, $7,400, starting in 30th. He was 8th in single lap, 25th in 10 lap consecutive average. He needs to have another solid day. Starting in 30th, and a solid day would be 10th for Ryan Blaney if he finishes where he finished last year. It's going to put him in pretty good shape going to Bristol, because he's actually pretty good at Bristol too. So Blaney's too cheap. I mean, all of the Penske guys are too cheap, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, and Ryan Blaney's way too cheap and starting way too far back. But Penske and the Fords have struggled on road courses this year. So I could understand why DraftKings put him where they are. I think he's going to be pretty heavily owned, and especially at his price tag. I mean, you could say the same thing with Joey Logano, but Joey Logano is starting in 7th. Now Joey Logano is also decent in practice. All right, I take it back. He's pretty decent on road courses. He's consistently finishing in the top 10. He's got a 9.6 average finish. He finished 10th in this race last year. 47 total starts. He's got 11 top 10 or 11 top 5s and 23. So almost half the time he's finished in the top 10. I mean, with his practice speeds, they didn't turn the ball over. No, okay, good. You could almost put together a Penske lineup. Other than I don't like the Austin Cindric play. But you could pair Ryan and Joey together. May not be a bad play. Chase Briscoe, I think he overpracticed and overqualified. He's not good at road courses. 21 total starts on road courses. He's got 5 top 10s, 10 top 20s. Half the time he's finished in the top 20, but he's got a 27.2 average finish over the last few races. First down. I think. Yeah, first down. Good job. Brad Keselowski, $7,000. You could do a Penske RFK lineup together, put all the Fords together. Might not be a bad idea. $7,000 starting in 28th. He was 19th in single lap, 9th and 10 lap consecutive average. But I mean, once again, he's not that great at road courses. He's got 4 top 20s. Starting in 28th, okay. He's also points hunting. Finished 15th in this race last year. Is that enough? Maybe. He's never won on a road course. And out of 45 total starts, only 7 top 5s, but he does have 12 top 10s. He has struggled so far this year on road courses. It was not that great at Coda, was not that great at Sonoma, was not that great at Chicago. This, in my opinion, is a little bit of a risky play, but I could see playing it because he's in 28th, starting in 28th. Todd Gillen. You could definitely do a front row compound. Oh, that was ugly. $6,800 quarterback. Got the ball batted away. 3rd down and 8. 3 minutes left. Kentucky's at the almost 50-yard line, looks like. Starting in 37th, we got a ton of potential upside here with Todd Gillen, even though his practice speeds were not that great. I mean, starting in 37th, if you can go get your average finish at 6,800, that's going to be at least top 10 in DraftKings, if not top 6. So just go get your average finish and we'll be happy. 3rd and 8, back. Oop, he almost got sacked. And the ball got batted away again. 4th down. No, that's an incomplete pass. You're being silly. Noah Gragson, $6,700. Starting in 9th position. His practice speeds were really good. 10th and single lap. 14th and 10 lap consecutive average. But with a 30.5 average finish on road courses and a 23.8 average finish, I'm not sure I have a whole lot of interest in the Noah Gragson play. He's starting too far up. He outkicked his coverage. Bubba Wallace, 6,600, starting in 32nd. Ooh, Bubba, you were really slow in practice, too. And he's better than a 32nd. I don't mind having some ownership here in Bubba Wallace. 15th on my ranking system. Oh, they're having a punt. Boo. Take it. Nope. Kicked it. Somebody. Ooh, there's a flag on the play. Probably offsides, though. All right, sorry. Back to racing. Finished in 12th last year. Yeah, I think he's starting too far up. I don't mind having some Bubba Wallace. You could definitely run a Penske RFK 2311 or a front row 2311 grouping. I don't know. Those never work, so don't do that. Eric Jones, $6,400. Starting in 25th, he was, once again, I don't understand the Legacy Motor Club cars are just literally unloading super slow this year. I hope they figure out whatever this issue is soon. Starting 25th, I think that's where he finishes. To be perfectly honest, unless we get some attrition, and I just don't know if I don't trust Legacy right now. So, Justin Haley starting next to last, $6,300. I mean, he's got a 22.6 average finish. Just go get your average finish, and that's going to put you pretty close to where we need you to be. For Draftkings, yeah, go get your 10 lap average. Go get where you finished last year. It's going to be probably pretty close. It's probably at least top 15. Yeah, so I think he's probably going to be decently owned, to be perfectly honest. But you could fade, and we're starting to get to the bottom of the barrel that I would want to use. Wyatt, what's up, buddy? I just got here. I'm gonna rewind to the beginning. Thanks for all the data, my friend. Yeah, you'll get a lot of football updates. We're all kind of watching this Kentucky Georgia game while I discuss DraftKings and NASCAR at the same time, because it'd be really cool for Kentucky to beat Georgia. And I'm not really a fan of either one, but anytime the number one team can go down, would always be a pretty cool thing. So yeah, enjoy the rest of the video. You'll probably get this when you catch up. Carson Hocevar, he's usually okay at road courses. I'm not saying he's great at road courses by any means, but this car was awful in practice. It was awful in qualifying. I don't know what the deal was. They only did 14 laps. They never even made it to a 5-lap consecutive average, much less a 10. And he's the only car in the field to not make it to a 5-lap consecutive average. I think they're going to struggle all day. I have absolutely no interest in Carson Hocevar. I would much rather run Juan Pablo than Carson Hocevar this week. Austin Dillon's kind of in the same boat. He's just, number one, he's just not good at road courses. Number two, he's starting too far up. He practiced slower. Oh no. That's not good. Georgia with a big first down up to the 50-yard line. That could spell trouble. Kentucky's got 2 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning. Maybe. Even if they score a touchdown, Kentucky's not out of it. They just have to score a touchdown and get a 2-point conversion. It just seems like this is going to be a tough hill to climb for Kentucky. Back to Austin Dillon, though. Yeah, I think he's just starting too far up. He outkicked his coverage. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., $6,000 starting in 26. I mean, at least Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is a little bit better on road courses than Austin Dillon, but not a ton. His average finish lately has been an 18.6. He finished 13th here last year. He's 23rd in practice, starting in 26. I'm not sure we get much more than a 20th place finish out of Ricky. And I don't think that's enough even at $6,000. You want to talk about awful at road courses? Poor Josh Berry. He is just awful. He's got a 34th place average finish on 2 road courses out of these 5. And out of the 3 total road courses, he's got a 34.7. I have no interest in Josh Berry. He and Carson Hocevar are going to tangle for last. Zane Smith, $5,700, starting in 19th. I mean, I'm not sure Zane gets much further than where he's starting. He could get up to a 15th, but at $5,700, I mean, maybe have some ownership, but not much. A small sprinkling of Zane Smith. The same with Corey LaJoy. I mean, Corey LaJoy's at least 20.6 average finish. Finished 20th in this race last year. His practice speeds were okay, but he's never finished in the top 10. So more than likely, he's probably going to finish 20th at best. Maybe where he starts. And I'm not sure that that's enough. Where I think John Hunter Nemechek getting a 25th, starting 35th, is going to outdo Corey LaJoy. So do you take? I'd rather take a shot on John Hunter Nemechek, even though he was 374th in practice. Good Lord, he was really slow in practice. Well, yeah, that's a typo. There's number 2 mistake for the day. I'm not fixing that one though. $5,500 starting in 35th. I don't love the play, but if you're desperately needing some salary cap relief, maybe. Ryan Preece, in my opinion, is starting way too far up, even though he does an average finish of 18th at the 5 road courses we're comparing to. I just don't love the play. He's got total 20 starts on road courses. He only got 1 top 10, 9 top 20s, and a 23.2 average finish. At halftime, he finishes worse than 20th. It's a coin flip, and I just don't like the coin flip. Harrison Burton, he struggles on road courses. I don't think he finishes much better than 30th. Now he's gonna need to flip some stages and do some crazy things to try to get some points back before he goes to Bristol, where he's okay at. So they're gonna have to throw a lot of Hail Marys. He's not going to come in for stage breaks. He's going to, if he has the opportunity to get some stage points, he's going to. But I'm not sure that lines up well to get a good finish. And stage points don't give us anything in Draftkings. Daniel Hemrick, next in line here, $5,100. There's just nothing to say here. He's starting in 27th. He was 35th in single lap, 28th in 10 laps. So he qualified better than he practiced. His average finish is 33rd over 2 races out of our sample size. He's got a total of 7 starts on road courses with a 26.3 average finish. I just don't see any upside here. Or you could take a Kaz Grala, who at least has a 25.5 average finish with the same amount of races that we're comparing to. And out of his total road course starts, he's got a 21.4 average finish. Now, one of those finishes was in the number 3 car when he raced for Austin Dillon at Daytona road course way back during COVID. But Kaz Grala is actually not awful on road courses. Oh, did he fumble? Nope, he got it back. Darn. A minute 50 left. 2 timeouts still for Kentucky. Going to be at 2nd down or 3rd down? He definitely fumbled. God, Kentucky should have paid attention. I think the ground caused it. All right, back to finishing this up. Let you guys get back to the end of this exciting football game. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, here's my 4 highest owned, and probably they're gonna 1 or 2 or 3 are going to be in the optimal lineup. They're just starting decently enough back. They've got a ton of place differential, and they're really good at road courses, and they were good in practice. Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Chris Buescher, Ryan Blaney's going to be in the hunt. Chase Elliott also. Denny Hamlin's going to need to get himself to a top 10. So I think that, unless we get some attrition, I think that's going to be pretty safe. The ground did not cause that fumble. He definitely fumbled that ball. But Georgia recovered it. So we've got a ton of guys with really decent place differential in here. And then we've got some guys that practiced and qualified well. Shane Van Gisbergen, SVG. Let's go there. Michael McDowell, Joey Logano, Ross Chastain. I don't mind any of these 4. I could see a play for AJ. I get a little nervous about the Daniel Suarez, Martin Truex, and Alex Bowman play. Austin Cindric, I have no interest. Noah Gragson, no interest. Chase Briscoe, no interest. Kaz Grala, I could potentially, if you need to really dig deep. I mean, if you try to run these 4, you're definitely probably gonna have to play a Kaz Grala, which may not be awful. That may even fit with a Ryan Blaney and a Kaz Grala type play. Ball at the 42, 1st down, Georgia. That's going to hurt. That may do Kentucky. Another guy said, you could play a John Hunter, but I don't really like that play a whole lot, other than it is 35th place starting spot. Corey LaJoy starting too far up. Harrison Burton, unless they play some really crazy strategies. Josh Berry's awful at road courses. So there's kind of my breakdown. There's what I feel. Todd Gilliland's definitely in play. The Brad K is potentially in play, and I really like the Justin Haley play. Beyond that, don't like the Horsevar, Stenhouse, Austin Dillon, Hemrick, or Zane Smith play. That kind of gives you a pretty good idea of the people I like and don't like. Minute 40 left in this game with 2 timeouts left for Kentucky. I'm going to wrap it up here, finish watching the end of this football game, let you guys get to that. Also, if you need to go back, rewind, check anything out, or if you have any questions, thoughts, or concerns, hit me up. Next week, we are at Bristol Saturday night race. We will be early on Saturday for this live broadcast. I'm speculating about 1 o'clock in the afternoon because I want to get wrapped up in time to, number 1, do my lineups, and number 2, the Virginia Tech Hokies play at 3:30 next week. So we'll pick up and we'll watch some college football together and discuss NASCAR. So check back with me next Saturday. Let me know if you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, and let me know if you happen to win a big bag of money this weekend. Good luck. Enjoy the phenomenal race at Watkins Glen. Hopefully the tire wear is atrocious and these guys are slipping and sliding and make it really, really fun and really interesting. I'm sure they will. All right. Have a great rest of your weekend and good luck tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.
Get a good deep breath. Get ready to roll here. Only about one thing tonight, getting the W, so got to be around at the end to do that. Get ready to roll tonight, boys. Let's go have some fun.
Don't get me any more fired up than I already am.
All the way to the checker. You're fine. Nobody's got to run. Checker time, baby!
Hell yeah!
Proud of you there, Matt. Good job, pal. Thanks, man. Good job all day. Great work, my man. Great work.
Keep putting yourself in position, we'll win our share, right? We got one back today, brother. Good job.
10-4, great job, guys. Excellent work, my man. Excellent work. Thank you.
Man, that's awesome. Set out with a goal, we got it here, bud. Thank you very much.
Really proud of you, man. Drove your butt off tonight. We had the fastest car here, bud.
Probably killed our deal there. Just feel like I gave one away. Yeah, boys! Way to rebound! Great job!
Great job, bud. Really good job. Appreciate you hanging in there with us all weekend.
What a weekend. Good job. Thank you.